Hello, and thank you so much for joining for a demo of Cartwheel Menu Planner. For those that may or may not have heard, we have partnered with your state to offer this menu planning software program completely to you for free. Now during this demo, if you have questions, please feel free to use the chat feature to the right of your screen, and I'll be having my teammate helping me answer those during the demo, or we'll come back to them at the very end as well. My name is Renata Burkhart, and I am the Customer Communications Lead here at Cartwheel by Collier Technology Solutions. I was just about born and raised in Arizona, in Phoenix, and I've lived here all my life, so I'm pretty used to the heat. Outside of work, though, I volunteer in mentoring junior high and high school students with a local youth center, and I'm a huge movie nerd. Growing up, I was one of the grateful benefactors of the free and reduced lunch and enjoyed breakfast and lunch every single day at my school. My family had a close bond with our kitchen manager named Anna and at my elementary school, and knowing now what I do and knowing that I can help other Annas out there is extremely rewarding for me. Someday I hope to be able to give her a massive hug for her passion and incredible dedication to my development as a student. So I'm eager to help with Menu Planner because I, like you, want to see you be able to focus on what you're passionate about and taking care of your students as I was taken care of. So who are we at Cartwheel? We've been a part of the school nutrition industry for the past 20 plus years and always having the main goal to reduce the burden of the school system administrative needs and helping to ensure that every single student is cared for. We are the state's provider for administrative needs such as your MAPs, TMAC, CHAMPS, and the like. One administrative area that we have seen as being a major hurdle is with the menu planning process, which is why we're introducing Cartwheel Menu Planner. By helping to alleviate this one aspect for food service directors, we want to be able to help you free up your time to focus on the more important tasks in your day. So how can we help you with Menu Planner? So one of my examples is that Anna used to have a massive planner book that she would carry around and spend hours double checking and making sure that she was on the right page with the right day at the right menu. And like Anna, we know that many food service directors are tracking their menus through spreadsheets, which can be tedious, time-consuming, and honestly overwhelming. Through Cartwheel, though, we've created a user-friendly process to build your menus in hours instead of weeks, and it's all cloud-based, which is getting rid of the software interruption updates. You have the security of knowing that your progress and effort is being saved in real time. There's no fear of torn pages or spills when there's the cloud. With compliance checks in real time, you have peace knowing that what you're serving is within regulations at a quick glance. This allows you to have creativity and fun with your menu, bringing with it the passion over fear and worry. Another hiccup that we've heard of is with production records. Production records can be hard to track down and if handwritten, sometimes difficult to read. But with a cloud-based system, site managers can quickly enter their records for the day, allowing food service directors to have a central location for all the production records, including in the notes from the day, all at a quick glance for you. And the big hurdle and one of the reasons I need to hug Anna someday is learning about the administrative reviews. We've heard that AR reports can take sometimes months to prepare for as you sift through binders of paperwork, taking away precious focus and time from your major goal. With Cartwheel's cloud-based system and global database of accurate information, those months get cut down into minutes as you're able to quickly pull all the AR information needed into a simple zip file. So those are just a few highlights. But I'm going to go ahead and show you an actual full demo of Cartwheel Menu Planner in action. So this is our landing page for Cartwheel Menu Planner. We have two different areas of ways to navigate through Cartwheel with our menu bar up at the top, but we also have these item cards here to navigate as well through. So just like with any menu, I'm going to go ahead and start in food items. Now when you open up your food items page, we have a couple things to look at. We have our search feature and databases to sift through here on the left. And then when I click into one of these databases, like the Cartwheel database, we have our food items appear here on the right. We have several of these different food databases to go through. We have our USDA CN22 database. We have the USDA Direct Delivered Foods. We have your commonly used foods database. And then the Cartwheel database, which is all the items that we have gathered from manufacturers, including their spec sheets. And then you have your My database, which is all the information that you personally enter. Now you can add a food item from scratch, but I'll go ahead and click into one that I already have. And I'm going to go ahead and put my Cartwheel database and the My Database on. Now through training as well with your dedicated support team member, they're going to go through how to use these different databases for your advantage. So I'm going to look for an item that most people use. I'm going to look for a Tyson item. Now when I search for this Tyson item, all these different Tyson food items pop up. Now I'm not seeing what I'd like to see, so I'm going to go ahead and search a little bit differently, and I'm going to search for more specific of a chicken nugget, since those were the best meals. And here we have all of our different chicken nuggets that pop up from our Cartwheel database and the My database that I have selected. Now I'm going to go ahead and click into this commodity from the Rich Chicks. Now this is what a food item card looks like when you open it up. We have our title of the food item, you have your manufacturer, and where the database is that this food item comes from, which in this case it's from the Cartwheel database. You have your serving size, the product code, and then below you have the nutrient analysis for this food item, broken down to the big three, but you can also see the additional nutrients of the carbohydrates, cholesterol, etc. It'll also label whether or not this food item has an allergen of one of the big 8 allergens associated with it. You also have the ability to see what the meal pattern contribution that's associated with this food item is, which we have labeled here, and you can see whether or not it's a whole grain rich, it's a fruit or a fruit juice, or we have the subcategories of the vegetables listed as well. In this case, it's a whole grain rich and a meat. You also have the ability to see the measurements that are associated with this food item. So we have it broken down into nuggets as well as a case. And the best part, because this is a Cartwheel database item, is we have our spec sheet attached. You also have the ability when creating a food item to attach your own spec sheets to your food items. And the entire way through, wherever these nuggets are put into your menu, this spec sheet will go with it. So next up, I'm going to go ahead and go into our recipes. Now our recipes are just that. It's your great-grandmother's secret chocolate chip cookie recipe. So you have it in the same format. You have your search feature here on the left, and you have your recipe cards here on the right. You can add a recipe right up here with giving it a name, but I'll go ahead and go into my burger recipe that I've already created. When you open up a recipe card, you have the name of the recipe, you have the recipe code number, and whether it's a scratch or convenience. You also have how many this recipe serves, and what the style of this serve is like. And the entire way through Cartwheel Menu Planner, you have these black callouts that come up to help you navigate your way through Cartwheel Menu Planner. Now on a recipe card, you have your steps listed here on the left, and you have the food items that go with that step here on the right. And when you click into these, it also opens up to be the food item card that we saw previously. Now say that I wanted to make a cheeseburger. Instead of starting from scratch, since all of the ingredients are the same and all the steps are the same except for that I'm adding cheese, I can come over here and I can go ahead and duplicate this item. Now Cartwheel Menu Planner will open it up to be just like if I was creating it from scratch, but all the fields will be filled in for the burger recipe, and I can change it and adjust it to be for a cheeseburger. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this to be the Ron Swanson Cheeseburger. Now on the food items and on the recipes, you do have a quick link to the food buying guide for if ever you are needing it. Now I can scroll through and I can see that I want to serve the same amount of servings for 100 people. I'm going to change the recipe code to be 102. The portion size is still the same of 1 burger, but this could be if you were serving spaghetti as 1 cup, 1 scoop, 1 slice, however it is for your recipe. Then I'll select what category I want this recipe to be under, which you can select as many as you'd like that are applicable to it. So I'm going to keep it as American, but I'm also going to change it to be a main dish entree as well. I'm going to keep it as a scratch recipe so that I can follow what the yield factor change would be with the meat. Then I'll go to my steps. Now on my steps, since everything's the same and I'm just adding cheese, I can go ahead and scroll down. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in a step 3. And on my step 3, I'm going to say add cheese. Now on each step, you have the ability to choose whether this is a HACCP step by clicking right here, which will bold this step on the recipe card. I also have the option, since I know that this is something that would come before eat and enjoy, I can reorder this step to be on step 2. And now here it is at step 2. Now because I've got cheese on this step, I'm going to go ahead and add cheese into this step. So I still have my search feature as Cartwheel database in the My database, and I'm going to go ahead and look for some cheddar. Now I can scroll through and look through my items, but I know that I use this cheddar cheese here. So I will add this item, which will bring in the food item to this recipe, and I'll choose how much of this item I need. So I'm making 100 burgers, so I'll have 100, and now I can search through my additional measures, and I'm gonna need 100 slices of cheese. The second unit of measure is if you had, say, a number 10 can or a number 10 can with 5 pounds. So you could do 5 pounds, 4 ounces, or 1 number 10 can and 4 cups. In this case, I only need the 1 unit of measure of the slices. Now for the yield factor, this is what is actually being served after preparation. It is out of a factor of 1.00 or 100, so I'm going to go ahead and put 1 since there is no change and the slice will be the same. Now once I have all of my ingredients in, I also have the ability, just so you are aware, to reorder these ingredients within a step if I'd like to. If I want the hamburger bun to be first, or if I want lettuce to be first, I can reorder these ingredients however I see fit. So everything looks good. I've got my ingredients in, I've got my steps in the way that I want to see them. So now I can go into Up Next Meal Pattern Contribution. Now with Cartwheel Menu Planner, you can enter your meal pattern contribution for this recipe yourself, or we have this Here's Something Helpful button over here that says Suggest Meal Pattern. And based on the ingredients and the amount of servings that I'm preparing, Cartwheel will do the math for me to tell me what the meal pattern contribution should be. I'm going to go ahead and use these suggestions. And now my recipe has been updated. So I'll hit Save and Finish. And now I have my Ron Swanson cheeseburger in my recipe cards. So up next, we'll go to our meals. Now we have a saying that the meals are the what's being served, the menu templates are the when it's being served, and the sites are the where it's being served. So now that I'm choosing what is being served, you have the ability to add a meal from scratch by choosing what the meal name is, which we suggest going off the main entree. You can choose what menu this is going to be for, whether it's for breakfast or lunch, and you can choose what grade group this is for. You also can select what compliance year this meal is for as well. I'll go ahead and go into one that I've already created of our cheeseburger meal. You have the option at every time that you're editing to change the name of the meal. I'm going to go ahead and keep it at cheeseburger though. Now when I come down for my meal creation, I have my ingredients and recipes listed here on the left, and I have my nutrient analysis listed in real time here on the right. Now I can see a couple of things right away. We have a saying that the red means that somebody's not being fed and green is good to go. So I can see already that I don't have meats and grains listed on this meal quite yet. I can also check in a little bit more detail of seeing exactly what in my checklist is missing for staying compliant. So I can look over here and I can see for a cheeseburger meal, I don't have a cheeseburger. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my cheeseburger. You have the option to choose items from your food items or from your recipes. I'm going to go into my recipes and I'm going to select that Ron Swanson cheeseburger that we just created together. And there in real time, I can see that my cheeseburger's been added, and now my nutrient analysis is showing me that I am compliant for this meal. Now, if I wanted to change this meal to be for high school, I can come over here and I can change it for 9th through 12th grade. And Cartwheel will adjust the compliance factors needed to make sure that this meal is compliant for high school. I'm going to go ahead and change it back though to my K through 5. Now that I have a compliant meal, I can also see the entire nutrient composition for this meal with the big 3 as well as the additional, and what all the allergens are for this meal. So now that I have this the way I wanted to look at, I want to show one other feature is that you are able to adjust the items in your meal to be however you want them to be read. So if I wanted to reorder these to make sure that my Ron Swanson cheeseburger was at the top, I can move this to the very top here. I also have the ability to change how I want my serving sizes to read by clicking into the portion size. If I wanted to have this cucumbers read in teaspoons or slices, I can do that if I'd like to. So I can say cup of slice or slice cup. And I'll hit next. And now it'll update for me to read the cup slices. Now that I have my cheeseburger meal the way that I want to, I'll go ahead and hit save. Next up, I will show you our menu templates. So again, the menu templates are when the food items are being served. So you can create templates based on however you plan your menus in your district. So whether that's month to month, if it's week to week, if it's semester, or even the entire year, you have the ability to create menu templates to match how you plan your menus for your district. You can create a menu template from scratch by giving it a name, what the menu type is, of breakfast or lunch, the grade group, and then when you want this menu to start. We'll go into our Pawnee Elementary School lunch. Now once again, since Cartwheel is all about showing you in real time and very quick visuals to whether or not you're compliant, I can see that I have some red, which meaning that somebody is not being fed. So I can click in here and see that I have a few different things. If there's bolded, that means that is the day that I'm looking at below. If there's an outline, that means that there's a menu planned for that day. And if it's black, it means that menu is compliant. So let's click into this 12th, and I can see my chicken nugget meal. So I'll open up my chicken nugget meal, and let's see what I am missing. It looks like I'm missing some milk for this. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my milks, and again I have my databases on for Cartwheel database and the My database for now. And I'm going to search for milk. So I can see that I have my chocolate milk, we'll add in my low-fat milk, and I'll add in my skim milk. Now when you add in your milks, you have the option to choose what percentage students choose these milks in. So I know that chocolate milk is always the favorite because it was mine when I was a kid as well. We'll say that the low-fat milk is about 25% and so is the skim milk. Now that I've added in my milks, I can see over here that I'm green, I'm good to go, and everything is compliant. So I'll hit done. I'll scroll back up to the top, and now I can see that I have a completely filled out menu for this week. I can also go into our weekly dashboard, which will break down the entire weekly compliance checks to make sure that you are compliant. You have a weekly checklist, and if there was a certain day that was giving you trouble, you can easily scroll through and find that day to find out what is going on with that day that is causing you to be uncompliant. I can see that I have all green check marks and I'm good to go. You also have the option as you're creating your templates to cycle a whole week. So say we're going into the next week, or the next month, I apologize, for September, and I wanted to take this entire week of the 9th through the 13th and copy it to the 23rd to the 27th. I have that option here by choosing to copy the week menu, and I'm going to copy September 8th to the 14th, and I'm going to do that same week, the 5th, and I'm going to copy it to the week of the 22nd. I can hit done. and let me go over and check it. And I can see that now I've entered that entire week within seconds instead of having to go individually and plan out that week. This is helpful if you do cycle menus, as well as you have the option to not include holidays. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And next up, we'll go into our sites, which is where it's being served. So this is where you enter all of your different schools that you have. You can enter a site just simply putting in the name, and we'll go ahead and check out what Pawnee Elementary School looks like. So I'll go into my Pawnee Elementary, and here are all my menu templates that I have for this school, and I'll open up that same lunch that we were working on. Now in Cartwheel Menu Planner, you have the ability to add as many users as you want into your district. We also have the ability to change what type of permissions you give to each of those people that you add to your districts. So we have the director, which has the ability to go through every single aspect of Cartwheel Menu Planner, adding food items, planning menus, and full access to everything. And then we also have the site managers, which are able to see everything in Cartwheel Menu Planner, but they're only able to make changes for the sites, which is where we have our production records. So again, since everything is visual, we have at a quick glance that we have these little purple dots on these days. These purple dots let us know whether or not a production record has been created for this day. So let's make a production record together. I'm going to go ahead and go for this 12th, since that's our cheeseburger meal. So I can click onto this offered menu, and I can create my production record for this day. I'm going to go ahead and save that menu for that day. And a production record will open up with my menu listed below. So if I was a site manager, I can come through here, and I can tell Cartwheel Menu Planner what happened for this day. So here we planned for 100 students, we offered meals to 100 students, and we ended up serving 98 students and one awesome mom who came to eat lunch with her kid. Now everything always goes completely perfect, correct? Probably not, because schools are crazy. So let's just say that you had this perfectly planned meal and you wanted to serve these pairs, but something happened and you just weren't able to, whether it didn't show up on the truck, if they got dropped, or anything that went wrong, because something sometimes will always go wrong. So we weren't able to serve these. So we'll click on the trash can to remove this item. But instead of removing it completely from your perfectly planned menu, Cartwheel Menu Planner puts a line through it to show that this was a change that was made to your menu. Right away at the very top as well, there's going to be an alert to let you know that you are no longer compliant, as we are now missing a fruit for this day. But have no fear, because you have an incredible team of people helping you. So you can come over here to this add items. So even though we weren't able to serve pears, I'll scroll on through here, and I'm going to only look at the fruits that we were able to serve. So instead of pears, we ended up serving sliced apples. So I'll select these apples, I'll hit done, and I'll add it to my menu. So I'm going to say, yes, I served it for this cheeseburger meal. I plan to serve 100. I ended up offering 100. And now Cartwheel Menu Planner will bold this item to show that this was a change that was made to your menu. You then have the option to go through and you can click what the leftover and waste was, with notes attached to them. You can see the meal pattern contribution associated with each item in your menu. And you also have the ability to come to the very end to put overall notes for this. So we can say pears didn't make it, served apples instead. Now once I have everything listed the way that it went for that day for the production record, I can go ahead and hit save. Now I have a little purple dot that indicates that there is a production record that has been created for this day, and I can see at the quick glance. The last aspect of Cartwheel Menu Planner that I want to show you is in the reports. So in our reports, this is where you are able to print out recipes, blank production records if you'd like to, as well as run any type of report that you'd like to about your menu. So there's 3 reports that I want to highlight. The first one is going to be the recipe report. So if you're wanting to print out your recipe, you can come in here and you can select the recipe. I'm going to go ahead and choose that same Ronson cheeseburger. Then you can choose whether or not you want to print it with the amount of servings that you put in the recipe, which in our case was 100, or if you know that you end up serving around 300 burgers, you can come in here and you can put in that amount for you, and Cartwheel will end up doing the math to adjust for the new serving amounts. So I'll hit Generate Report. I will open my report, and here's my recipe to print out. So instead of 100 burgers, I now have 300 buns, patties, and slices of cheese. I also have the nutrients listed below, and this is as simple as doing a right click and print. The next report that I want to show you is our student and parent menu report. For our student menu report, we're going to go ahead and select the menu that we want to go ahead and print. We're going to choose that elementary lunch that we are working on. We're going to select a week that we'd like to print. And then you have the option to edit the menu item names to be visually more pleasing for the kids. So I'll go ahead and open this up and see what that looks like. So instead of this saying breaded chicken nuggets, shaped chicken patties with white breast and rib meat, I'm going to just change this to say chicken nuggets. I can go through and now select how I want these different food items to read on my menu when I print it. Once I have all of the different items labeled the way that I would like to have them read for this menu, I'll hit Update Menu Item Names, and now I'll hit the Generate Report. I'll open my report, and here's my weekly listed menu. So I have all the different items that we are serving for this week. We have the nutritional information that's being served for this week, as well as we have allergens that are associated with each of the items, so parents can quickly see if there's something that their child needs to be aware of in this week's menu. Now again, this is as simple as a right click and print, or you have the ability to copy this URL and put it into your website. The last report that I want to show you is the weekly menu audit report. So when we go for a weekly menu audit report, we're going to go ahead and click the same exact menu that we're going to be audited for. We're going to select the week that we're audited for, and we'll go ahead and hit Generate Report. And now, instead of months of gathering everything, in just minutes you have everything that's needed for your weekly menu audit report. That includes your menu report, your food item nutrients, and your recipe report, all listed for you in a very quick zip file to be able to send, or right click and print. Now on top of this being the weekly menu audit report, because of the different databases that have the spec sheets attached, you're also able to collect all the spec sheets associated with that menu that you're doing the report for, again in just a few seconds. Might take just a second. There we go. Now we have our zip file that is able to be downloaded that shows all the spec sheets that are associated with the food items that are in that menu. So that's a high overview. Now before we go on to what to do to sign up, I also want to show you that the entire process with Cartwheel Menu Planner is to be a partnership with you, with the food service directors. We want to hear from you, and we also want to be here to help the entire way. So in our drop-down menu bar over here, we have a few different things to help you out. We have an About section that'll show you the different updates that have been going on as we continually to hear from food service directors and make changes We also have our support button here, which shows you how to use Cartwheel Menu Planner, as well as a downloadable user guide right here. And we have our support team that's ready to help you out at all times. And we have our support team down here with our available hours and our email, where we'll get back to you within 24 hours. On top of that, we have our knowledge base, which you can access through this menu bar, or you can access it from the main page as well. Now, our knowledge base has a couple different features for you. Like I said before, this is a partnership. We want to hear from you. A lot of the different features that I was able to show you, such as rearranging food items within a menu, or rearranging items on a recipe, or scrolling features, etc., have been different suggestions that have come in from food service directors like yourself. So you have the ability to enter tickets, which would be any questions that you may have, any suggestions that you may have, or things that you'd like to see in the future. You also have the ability to go into our knowledge base, which is a breakdown of every single step in Cartwheel to help you and answer questions for you. So say you wanted to look at creating recipes. You can click in here and we'll have a video tutorial of how to create a recipe, as well as a breakdown verbally of how to create a recipe as well. At any point in time while you're in the knowledge base as well, we have this live chat function that's available during our open hours, or we'll email you by the next business day, where you can put your name, your email address, and the question that you have, and one of our customer success team members will get back to you as soon as possible, sometimes within the same minute. So let's go ahead and go back into our presentation. So that was Menu Planner. So what comes next? We have an aggressive training and support plan in place to ensure that your success through a level system of becoming a confident Cartwheel menu planner in 90 days. Everyone starts as a novice user, then progresses all the way to prime. The more Cartwheel menu planner is implemented into your menu planning. Like I mentioned, you're not alone. When you onboard, you're assigned a personalized success team member that stays with you through your training and progress. We have broken down the training into 4 interactive sessions over 4 weeks with our awesome support team. This allows you time to fully grasp the program. We create goals with you and help you achieve new status upgrades and work with you at your level and your pace. Along with your support team member, you still have access to the knowledge base with training videos and help when you need it. Menu Planner is continually improving as we continue to partner with more food service directors. So if you'd like to register for this free menu planning program provided to you by your state, please click on the link in the chat, which will take you to a registration form. From there, your customer success team member will reach out to you by email to get your training session set up. I want to thank you all so much for your time in viewing Cartwheel Menu Planner today, and I want to open up this time to address any questions that you may have.